Hey folks, this is Ben back with you in the Midwest Model Shop. Today is a very big deal day. Here it is. This is it. For the first time ever, our 1/200 scale USS Fletcher DD 445 by Trumpeter. This is a huge deal for me. I have been waiting for this model for over 3 years. Probably 3.5 years now. We might even be at the 4-year mark. I'd have to go back and look. Let's just say it's been 4 years. 4 years ago and some change. Actually, yeah, I think 4 years. I did a survey, some of you may remember, online, and I said, those of you who build 1/700th scale warships, because I know you live in apartments, you don't have a lot of room, you don't want to take a long time, you like the small scale, would you be interested in purchasing a 1/200th scale ship, knowing that it will end up being just a little bit bigger in size than a 1/700th scale warship? This model is a little bit bigger than the Bismarck, a few inches, but definitely not wider. And there was, at the time, over 400 some responses, I think, with a 98-ish, 97% yes, that you would entertain that. I wanted one because I was building the Missouri, which wouldn't even fit into the shot. It's wider, longer than my arms are right now, and it was taking forever. And I thought, why isn't there a scale ship that's in 1/200 scale, but that's smaller, that doesn't take so long, so you could get all the benefits of a large build without the headache of it lasting months and months and months. I started thinking, I was like, wait a minute, the Fletcher destroyers, why aren't they, they're a staple in 1/350th scale. Everyone has the Tamiya 1/350th scale Fletcher model, right? Some guys have 2 or 3 in their inventory, I've noticed. I only have 1. But yeah, so I reached out to Trumpeter. That was a fiasco. I made a contact there and I said, look, here's my proposition. You guys should make this kit. Why? It's small. There was 277 variants of the ship made, all based on this kit. Or 270, 250, I'm forgetting now. There was a lot of destroyers made. Also, people who build in 1/700 scale or 1/350 scale almost exclusively, they're not going to buy your 1/200 scale ships because they don't have room. Your average person doesn't have room for a ship that big. But they might want to build a warship that's a classic, that there's a lot of variations of. Somebody's uncle probably served on one of them. You just got to change the numbers and a few details around to make an accurate version of it. At some point during the war, you should have this universal kit. And it's a lot smaller. There's a lot of pros to it, right? And this is it. This is the first one they produced it. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to do an out-of-box review today. It's not going to be very long because there's not a lot of stuff inside of it. I am very excited about this kit. So everything's going on hold. We are going to build this kit next. It's going to be a very short build because there's just not a lot to this. And we're going to build it out of the box. I'm not going to add anything extra other than what is here in the kit. The reason is I want you to see what you can get just buying the kit, going home, assembling it, and painting it. I believe that Trumpeter's kits out of the box, I know they have flaws and there's issues and there's accuracies and blah, 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 blah. I got it. I hear you. But I've always said that if you just build it out of the box, you're going to be really happy with it, especially at 2 feet. A 2-foot model, you're staying 2 feet away from it, like, oh, that looks awesome. Put this thing on the shelves, guests are going to come over, they're going to be blown away. That's what I believe. So we're going to set out to prove that. So we'll go ahead and we'll build this probably starting next week, I hope. I got to get more things together with the shop here. And then when it's done, we will go back to the Enterprise and keep that ball rolling, things like that. I am going to do aftermarket kits, aftermarket supplies for this, upgrades. I've already started. I already have some of the guns made because this is modeled with gun tubs that are later in the war. They're not quite the right size if you're going to get finicky about scale. And blast bags. And the pictures of the Fletcher, the early one, they didn't have the blast bags on them, and they had different things on top, and there were different variations of stuff. So yeah, we'll get to that. That is coming. Please be patient. But I want to build this out of the box. So that's my story. Thank you to everyone on Patreon who supported us over these last few months during the move and rearranging and life's curveballs and sliders that got thrown at us. I really appreciate your contributions. And thank you to everyone who's gone to the MidwestModelShop.com and purchased parts. We really, really do appreciate you. We hope that we can continue to be a good source for you to get aftermarket parts reliably that help your builds, that make things go better for you and move things along faster so we can build more ships. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what you get. Okay, so here's the main box. Got your box art on the front. Some information on the bottom here with this is the photo etch detail that comes along with it. Nothing too crazy or difficult. 2 sheets of PE and then the decals, including lots of numbers, which I encourage Trumpeter to do because all you have to do a lot of the time is change this and you have a new ship, right? Nothing fancy on the side. On the back of the box, you have your 2 paint schemes. This is later war, just your gall gray. And then this is early on what you had your little, what do you call it, measure 22? No. You see the fun camouflage. We're going to do this one because it's early war and that's the pictures that we have. And then you have some other default stuff, right? So, take the cover off, take the back step off. Boom. This is what you get inside. So, right away, first thing, very simple, your painting and marking guide. Nothing too incredible here other than some paint suggestions. They don't even give you years, like what paint variation we've got here, but you do have your color code up here at the top, which is important. And then you have obviously the other colors and decal guide on the back for the decals. So very nice, wonderful, typical stuff. We have the instruction manual. We will page through this. This is, I guess I don't really know what's going on here other than this is a little advertising, right? This is the photo etch that's going to go on. And then the back, we got an MI-35 Hind that they're toting, right? Okay. Decal sheet, length of the box. We'll go ahead and take a look at that separately. And then you have the box content. Hull, this is just a divider, superstructure, and your main parts. Let's go ahead and dive into that. All right, here is your hull. And I covered this in the previous videos. So 2 things to note. One, on the inside here, it is going to tell you that this is the Stevens. So Trumpeter did what I suggested, and that was make one hull, and you use that for all the ships. And that is what they did. So then you get your deck fitting, and this deck, if you look on the back of it here, says that it is the Fletcher. All right, so it drops on 2 things to note. One, on all my test shots, the fit up here at the bow wasn't that great, and it's actually a lot better now. See that? If you do a little lining up, and then you're good at the stern also here, everything fits nicely. So that is good. And then this is your fittings that you have along the hull here. This is your basic stuff, right? Also, a big difference is we have the keels built in. This was not on the test shots. You got them on both sides, right? They're thick. As you can see here, they're big, huge, honking things. But they look the part. I mean, this is, you're going to see it like that. That's the look. Those of you, and I'll probably do it later, who care down the road, I'm going to get some reference photos, but I'll probably mimic this profile along this edge, cut this off, and just put it on as a single piece of styrene. All right, so I wanted to change my background here. So we do have armor plating that they put in the side here. This detail is on the real ship. Now, I know some of you in a previous review poo-pooed the thickness of this whole thing. When the ship's done built, it's going to look just fine. If you don't like it, you can fix it. It's not a problem. And if you don't know how to fix it and you're really upset about it, don't forget to like and subscribe, because when I build my next version of it, I'll show you how to correct it. It is the same on both sides. No big deal there. All right, so the hull, really nice. Let's see here. I mean, that is the bulk of your model, right? And we're at, I'll just do a quick rough measuring. You're 22.5 US inches long from bow to stern there, which is good. So that being the case, let's go ahead and pull out some of the parts. All right, we do get a nice little brass chain, which is nice, and it is scale correct. It obviously doesn't have the little links in between each of the loops. That's impossible to do in metal at this scale, but you do get one. We'll work on this with some 3D printing later. You get a default package of railing to run around. This is labeled Fletcher at the bottom that I'm sure we'll just use all over the ship. Here we have our specific photo etch for the Fletcher. Let me make sure that, yep, this one says Fletcher down here. The Stevens and the Johnson are going to have different photo etch sheets. But as you can see, everything is here and looks nice. We'll take care of the cannons. I know you guys hate these ladders. We'll make new ones for you that are no big deal. But the rest of these parts are going to be relatively easy to work with. The most complicated piece probably being your radar right here. But otherwise, and some little ladders here. Otherwise, that's it. Minimum photo etch with most bang for your buck detail here. I think this is nice. All right, moving on. All right, this is sprue E. You got a bunch of your shells, and then mostly what we're looking here is like your hedgehog launchers and your depth charges and things like that. You do have a few kind of small, dainty little details that you got to take care of when removing from the sprues, but otherwise, there you go. Some of your gun tubs, and then this is part of your superstructure up here. All super well detailed, finely molded. I think that's a really, Trumpeter's really stepped up their game here in terms of, like, look at the detail there on that hatch. I know the ladder's next to it, but why would you scrape that off to put a photo etch one on? It's good to go. You're set. And look how the detail wraps all the way around. There's one piece of mold. I don't know how they did this. They've got new slide molding technology they've really stepped up their game, and I think they're showcasing it on this kit, which is nice. All right, moving along. This is sprue C, and we have some of our depth charge racks in the back here, the funnel. This is your twin 40mm anti-aircraft gun. We'll do an aftermarket of that. You've got your lights, some of the detail underneath the superstructure and funnel supports. All very cleanly, nicely molded. This is good stuff. Next up is sprue A. You get 2 of these sprues, see? But we'll just show you the one. Lots of detail up in here. Torpedo launchers, Orlikins, your whaleboat, davits, and so this is an option here. These guns have the pre-molded blast bags on them. They're all the same, but they look nice and they're pleasant. If you use the other guns, the ones that are correct for Fletcher early war, they will pivot up and down if you're done too. So if you want them to move, use these. If you don't care and you want the blast bags on them, use those. If you want super accurate ones down the road, wait for our aftermarket detail set. The boat has a nicely shaped hull. The usual stuff, you could put photo etch back there for the propeller, and you've got a nice little rudder inside right here. Here's one of the ship's anchors. Flip it over so you can see that. I think that's the back side with those 2 little marks. Yeah, here it is on the front. Torpedo tubes, this is the top. There's a lot of extra stuff you got to add to them. This is the back doors. If we flip them over, you can see we'll be adding the tubes torpedoes later. Those are located up here, your fish, if you will. Life rings, which is nice. Rafts, we'll go ahead and work on those because there's these oval options, right? The oval ones in later in the war, they had the same size but more rectangle. So comment down below with things you'd like to see, universal stuff like this, and we'll go ahead and provide them. But you get 2 sprues of all of this stuff. All right, this is sprue B, and it is unique to Fletcher in that we have the Fletcher nameplate here for the display stand. Your propellers and fittings, here's your props, the drive shafts are over there, funnel halves, depth charges. This is the little protector dealies for the propellers on the back. Your mast right here. This detail is all the plumbing that goes on the forward funnel. Yeah. And this was nicely wrapped up to keep safe. There's some fragile things here that you don't want to have break. Oh, and this is your ammunition loader crane. I think this is for the 5-inch shells. They use it on the deck to load the magazines or something along those lines. You'll correct me in the comments. I know you can do it. Yeah. So that concludes the sprues, believe it or not. We're done. Now it's to move on to the superstructure parts that are all wrapped individually. All right, I guess one more sprue I lied. This is your stand. This is great. I did not have this in my test shots, and I actually wondered a little bit about it. But we'll be putting this together first so that we have something to set the ship on right away. That's really important. Then you get 2 bags of your guns. And why are there 2 bags? The Fletcher had 5 guns on it, but I can't remember if the Stevens or the Johnson had 3 on it. The Stevens had the catapult for the airplane on it. So anyway, what you're going to have hopefully here, these look like they're reinforced on the top, supposedly simulating your double knuckle or your triple knuckle tops. I don't know that they got that necessarily correct, but we'll take a dive into these later. But they're okay. You got them individual here, no big deal. Now you've got some really neat stuff that's packaged up and protected. All right, in that bag were these 2 parts of your aft superstructure. And they go together on the ship like that. That is the arrangement. We're going to look at these closely. Look at the detail that's there. This is out of the box. And we turn it, and we have this detail on the end. All molded, no seam lines. Look, they even have the little circle there for the hatch. We might print this hatch with because that's supposed to be protruding out. We'll see about that. But you got your ladder that goes next to it. Look at that. Underneath and up you have the little structural supports, and you've got the conduit running across to all the boxes. And then you have your hatches right underneath here on the front, underneath the gangway. And then your mounts for your guns and your structure in the back. That's a very nicely done piece. Moving along, that's a midship. No, that was aft. This is midship. Lots of little detail and things here. Same thing. Look at the quality. Look at the conduit up here. And this is out of the box, folks. Don't have to add all the photo etch doors. You don't have to monkey around with all those little things. Just got to paint it up, put it together, and enjoy it. I'm super impressed with the quality. Then you even have, what is this? A little hatch down here. 3 different like wheels, and then the hatch, and then you've got your vents back there. I'm impressed by the quality of the molds. I feel like Trumpeter has really stepped that up. Let's move on to the other bag. All right, this is the last bag, and we've got some superstructure details in here. All right, this is the forward superstructure. Again, conduits to electrical panels and switches. This is your fire hoses up in the front. A few hatches. Gun tubs. Mount for the number 2 gun. And then the main superstructure goes here. This is a couple pieces. There's more than what we have here, but yeah. Just look at this detail as it rolls around. Really nicely done. I think this is the lower one, and then a deck goes in here. And then here's your top one. Now I know a bunch of you were like, oh, I want the square bridge Fletchers. There's a square bridge Fletcher coming. They're going to release it. The other 2 ships have different shapes. You'll get there. You'll get there. Be patient. But look at this. This has forever been a problem. You have a perfect circle, and then around this curved surface, you continue to have a perfect circle for each one of the porthole openings. That previously has not been done. Especially take a look at your Titanic hull. So, and the Olympic hull, which we're going to do, by the way. I've got that kit in the other room. So, yeah, huge improvements in the quality of the kit. All right, so that's it for all the parts. We're done with that. The last thing to take a look at is the decals and the manual quickly. All right, let's take a look at our decals here. These are coming across. I'm trying to decide if it's black or really dark blue. This is the non-slip areas you should be walking on. And they've got them solid, and then again here in your, I think, more appropriate checkered pattern. You have your flags, just the stars back here, and then you have a slew of numbers. Here's 445, and then you have your regular numbers. And there are 4 sets of these. So you've got all these times 4. So there's a lot of combinations of numbers there. I need to double check on if they're supposed to be this shaded look. I'm thinking that that's a later war type of thing, but we'll double check that down the road. But otherwise, they're fine, right? It's pretty simple. And even if these are incorrect, you can get the correct ones. Or, if you're careful, trim the numbers out. We'll look into that whole little system. Now, let's go ahead and flip through the instruction manual. All right, here's your instruction manual. Now, it's pretty simple, so I think we could get away with paging through the whole thing. Inventory sheet, you can see it's all on one page. There's not a lot. They want you to start off with your hull. They talk about painting or decals there for the deck. Immediately we start fitting out, and they have you put a lot of the little details on first. I got to think about this. Do you want to put all this little stuff on and then attach the superstructure parts, or maybe reconsider the order in which you do things? It's up to you, right? Same thing, more of the same stuff here. And more fitting out. And you get your chains, and then you get your little davits and your little, I think these are little cranes for dealing with your loading up the depth charges. Your more traditional depth charge launchers that come off the stern back there. Then we move on to assembling some of our larger deck fittings. Superstructure parts, more of those, a little bit of the photo etch. I like that they are sub-assemblies though, so then you do have your whole hull here, and then you drop these in. I'm inclined to put all of this together first, drop it on, and then come back and do all these little tiny details. That's just me. We'll work through that when we assemble the whole thing. Let's see here. Get your little crane, your 2 ladders that you got to deal with. Railing. To show you where it goes. Oh, it's nice. It goes on the inside. Okay. That's helpful. And they kind of show you how it's supposed to be bent. You can see that. I appreciate that. Let's see, we got some boats, some guns, more photo etch detail up here. This is the stuff I couldn't figure out when I was putting mine together. I think I didn't have all of the pieces and parts, and they may not have had everything worked out, because this is more accurate with where these life rafts are supposed to be placed. Let's move on to your bridge. Looks a little more busy over here, but again, big pieces. And they all, they're all like that big, right? Size of like a pomegranate or something. And then the mast with the radar and your gun director. Fun torpedo tubes, fittings around the exhaust, your stacks. Then you get to make your guns. You got to decide which ones that you want to do. And then we wrap it up. This is it. Drop these parts into position. Drop these parts into position, and you're finished. This is your final build right here. Last pieces of photo etch. They want you to run around the edge of the ship. I like they're suggesting you do that last, and then your stand. We'll build the stand first. We'll go to the very last page, build the stand first, so we have something to set our ship on, right? Okay, that's it. Let's get some final thoughts. All right, so in conclusion, I'm stoked about this. Trumpeter sent me this for free. I should have said that at the beginning. It wasn't a promotional thing on their part. I originally told them when I said, hey, let's do this, I'd like one of the early boxes, please. So I found out the other day that they were on their way over. They're going to Squadron for sure. Brandon's got a gazillion of them there. You can go ahead and pre-order if you haven't already on their website to receive one of these. And then my Trumpeter contact reached out and said, hey, what's your address? I'm going to send you a box. Oh, great. And honestly didn't know if he was going to do it or not. And they showed up. Brandon said he's got a couple coming for me as well. I really appreciate it and looking forward to it. And I also ordered one from him anyway, just because I want to have a few of these. I have lots of ideas. That's my expectation out of the community moving forward here, basically into forever, right? Like that guy, Big Blue Sea, his YouTube channel where he does all the ships on the water somehow. This is perfect for him. It's not too big, but it's way big enough that he can get really detailed and put his figures on and create all kinds of little scenes. Same thing for you guys. If you want to do a diorama of the ship in dry dock or at a pier being loaded with all this stuff going on and off, going through choppy ocean, you can do that. It's all there because it's this big, right? I mean, it's not 2 feet long, 23 inches long. There's so many opportunities to build every one of them that you could sit down and do the research and say what were the names of all of them and what did they look like. You can do different ones sailing through the ocean, all kinds of different dioramas, and you could do cutaways if you wanted to. You could do battle damage ones. You could do them sinking. The Kid, the O'Brien, the Tin Can Soldiers, is that what it's called, that book? There's just hundreds of possibilities, literally. So I'm looking forward to model shows in the future. I'm looking forward to photographs of everyone's builds. I'm hoping that this is a kit that sees, that just goes into perpetuity, basically, right? No, it's not totally accurate. There's some problems with it. Those will be corrected, right? You guys are smart and you can figure out how to do it. It's not a big ship, so it's not a huge pain to monkey with some of that stuff. We're going to work on aftermarket products for it as well. I'm excited about this because this was the idea that I came up with, and I just thought it would fix so many little problems and satisfy so many people's desires and needs when it comes to a ship kit. You don't want teeny tiny, but you don't have room for a 5-foot hull, right? I mean, and your options literally are teeny tiny using tweezers, or something that's going to take you a year or two to make, and you need a special room just to keep it in. Here we have a normal sized model that's in a big scale. And that's, you know, I think this model will still be building it and talking about it 10, 20, 30 years from now. That is my expectation. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to everyone who likes and subscribes. I said before we're going to go ahead and build this again out of the box. We'll get going here hopefully next week on it. I hope every time I make a prediction, something in life happens that messes it up. But we're hopefully back in the running here with our normal build stuff soon. So we'll be doing this. I'm going to do the Olympic next. We've got an Olympic. All right. Thanks for watching, folks.